Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm Shelby, and this is Danny.
Hey Shelby, how are you today?
I'm great. How
It's
are
been been a couple weeks since we last
you? Yep.
met in the podcast universe.
Is that what it's called?
I guess so, yeah. Of course we see each other all week, but we just
We
haven't
could
been
say
able to.
in the basement.
Yeah, that's true. I guess in the basement,
Yeah.
where our studio is, but yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things are different now.
Things are different now. What's different?
We're not in the story.
We're
That
not
sounded worse than it was.
it's almost like you're talking like
Things
a
are
nuclear
different now.
bomb just happened or
Something
something
really
like
bad
it's
happened.
really different now. I don't know.
No,
Anyway.
we're just not doing the story.
Sounds
right
like ominous words at
I
the beginning of a
know.
movie or something. Yeah.
now. I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, yes.
We're just in a different series.
We are in a different series.
For
We're not
now.
doing the story for a few weeks. We're
Temporarily.
just doing a Christmas series,
Mhm.
and then we'll start the story up January the 5th. So,
Yeah. So we
you
have
know,
3 weeks of Christmas series.
3
right?
weeks.
2
Yep.
weeks after this past one.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And
Yep.
it's called The Gift.
The Gift. Who do you think that could be referring to?
I don't know. You'll have to watch and find out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. It's Jesus is the gift. But yeah, we're looking at 3 different gifts that the wise men brought to Jesus. And each one of them have significance. They represent something significant for us in relation to Jesus' life. And what was the first gift?
Frankincense. Not
Frankincense.
to be confused with a Frankenstein.
That's right. You just used my dad joke from Sunday.
Paid attention.
But yeah, frankincense.
And I had no idea what frankincense was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, are you into the essential oils and all that stuff?
No.
Oh, you're not. Okay, so then you wouldn't know. Anybody that's into the oil type stuff, yeah, it's pretty.
Like I know like peppermint's supposed to help with headaches, like that kind of thing. But
Well, frankincense is sort of the Swiss Army knife. I saw one guy describe it as the Swiss Army knife of oils because it was used or it has been used for an astringent, for cleaning. You can use it for wound care. You can use it if your stomach's giving you problems. They
Right.
used it for a lot of different things. Yeah. So they brought it to Jesus. And what do you remember what they use it for? What?
they burn it
Yeah, yeah.
for in a lamp kind of thing.
Yeah, in the Old Testament, in the temple, they would burn it, and the
It was part of like a ceremony.
the
thing.
scent, the smoke that would come from it, it represented the prayers of the people going up to God. It's
I
kind of
heard
a
it stinks.
yes, yeah. It's not the greatest smell in the world.
I heard people say during church on Sunday, people were like, "Oh, it stinks."
Yeah. So yeah, it's it was used for a lot of different things, but there's an Old Testament connotation to it, and the reason they brought it to Jesus is because you remember he is our
Gift. High priest.
high priest. There you go. You got it. Good job, Shelby.
I'll
You
get
were
there eventually.
You were listening. I'm proud
a
of
little
you.
bit.
So
And it says it on the paper.
so question, how many wise men were there? Do you know how many wise men were there?
Is this a trick question? We think 3, right? Do we know that for sure, though? Just a guess.
Doesn't say.
That's just what all the little nativity scenes have.
Yep. And they must be right?
And that's fake news because
So the
They weren't
nativity
there,
scenes are
right?
fake news. Well, you have been a little bit into conspiracy theories recently, so
yeah, I have.
so
Just one.
is this your newest conspiracy theory, Shelby?
No, you taught me that.
No, there's
I only believe in one conspiracy.
okay.
theory, that's
Well,
it.
that's all it takes to be a conspiracy
Yeah, I
theorist.
guess. Get a
But-
foil hat.
That's
whatever.
right. We'll get you one for next week.
Okay.
But no, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know. Everybody's just kind of assumed that there's 3 wise men because
Because there
there's
were
3
three
gifts. But there could have only been one
I was gonna
wise.
say,
I mean,
couldn't
well,
one guy just bring all
there was
three?
at least 2 because it's in the plural. So there was at least
Okay.
2. But there could have been a dozen. We just don't know.
That's kind of weird that we just assume that there's 3
Well,
and that we
That's-
think that they were there, but
well,
probably weren't.
in tradition, in Christian, like Catholic tradition, more so than the idea has been that there was 3 of them. They actually gave them names. I have them here. It's these will probably be, if you ever want to have another child, Shelby, these will be at the top of your list. Okay, they are Melkor. That's a good name.
Okay.
Yeah, Gaspar.
Okay.
Come here, little Gaspar.
That's awful.
Or Baltazar.
That's the one.
Yes. That would be a great name.
Should have used that for Jackson.
I'm sure he's glad you didn't.
That's
but
awful.
yeah, but that was a tradition. Nobody knows their names
You
or
just
anything.
made
It was,
that up.
yeah, they just kind of added it later. So, yeah,
It's kind of strange.
it is strange. But for whatever reason, we've got 3 of them at the nativity scenes that we do.
We know
and
that some were there, and we know they brought gifts.
yes,
right?
and that's the most important.
But we
part.
don't know when or how many there were or what their names were.
We don't know exactly when, but we do think that they arrived sometime anywhere from 18 to 36 months after Jesus was born. So we have this.
Oh, that's even later than I thought.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about this Sunday, but usually we have this scene of the 3 wise men giving their gifts to this baby in a
Newborn
manger, right?
baby.
No. Let's just say
Probably
that
like running around.
he was like in his well, Jesus didn't have terrible twos, but he was in his terrible twos when they showed up. So yeah, I doubt that he like laid there and let him give him. He was probably running around like a 2-year-old does. Right. So yeah, it's not exactly the scene you have in mind when they bring the wise men. Mary probably was looking like she got the crud beat out of her because she had a 2-year-old she was chasing after all the time. Joseph probably wasn't getting much sleep. It wasn't this idyllic scene in this manger with. It wasn't that.
Twinkly stars.
Yeah, no. It wasn't any of that. So,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I also bet that scene was a little more chaotic than we make it seem.
In the manger.
manger.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't
It
this.
looked so peaceful.
Well, that's all kind of framed a little bit by the songs we sing at Christmas, right? Silent Night.
Yeah, probably not.
Silent Night, No, it's not very silent when Mary's given birth to a child and you've got animals all over the place and then you have a baby that's crying. I mean, it's
never silent again.
not a silent night. No.
No.
So, yeah, it's doesn't we've kind of sterilized it, kind of made it more sterile, made it more, when really it's not. So.
Yeah.
And then we won't get into the whole idea of like, was he born in a stable or was it a cave? Because most people think it was probably a cave.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really normally what the scene looks like either, right?
I can't imagine having to give birth in a cave.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant experience. So anyway, just an interesting scene that's taking place there. Yeah, and they bring frankincense. You remember the other 2 gifts?
Gold and myrrh.
Wow.
I don't know what myrrh is either, to be honest.
Well, we're going to talk about that one this Sunday, so I won't get into that one. But yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff in the story, and we talked about some other reasons why. So Jesus, because he was given frankincense, that is what a high priest would use when they would offer the incense as the prayers of the people. They would do the sacrifice every year in Yom Kippur on the highest holy day of Judaism, and in the temple when they would give this sacrifice to God. So it kind of connects him as our high priest. Yeah.
So I didn't have just like 3 questions this week,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And it was the high priest thing.
Yeah.
So there were high priests before Jesus who were kind of like a middleman, right?
Yeah.
Between people and God.
A mediator. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now, obviously, Jesus is like our high priest.
Right.
But are pastors kind of that too?
That's a good question because it depends on the tradition. So in the Catholic Church, Catholics do still tend to see priests as mediators.
Okay.
So like if you're a Catholic, you go.
They confess.
They do confession through the priest. Communion has to be given by the priest because they are the mediator. The problem with that is there's really not anything of that in the New Testament. When you read in the New Testament,
So after Jesus, he's it.
yes,
He is the high priest.
yes,
But
yes,
before him, there were actual
yes, there
people.
were high priests.
Okay.
Yeah, that would serve in the temple. Yeah, it tended to be. Sometimes it was kind of passed down through a family, but usually it kind of rotated and changed from, even sometimes, if I remember right, I'd have to research this a little more, but I think from year to year sometimes it would even change at certain periods. But yeah, it's different in the like in the evangelical, like the Christian church, and really through most of Christianity outside of Catholicism. We don't believe that the mediator is through a person. The mediator is Jesus Christ. And so you don't have to, I mean, it doesn't mean it's not a bad idea to confess to others. There's something about accountability that comes with that, and that's a good thing. But the idea of a priest doing that is not in the New Testament. That was developed later. So no, it's not through the pastor. So good news for you. You don't have to like come to my confession box and tell me all your sins, Shelby.
That's good.
So yeah,
I don't want to do that.
Tell me all the times you've been mean to Lucian, or that kind of stuff.
I'd just be in there all day, huh? All day, every day.
And Lucian would say to that, "Amen."
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. But no, it's I'm not. That's not me.
Yeah.
Or any pastor. Yeah.
Because at first I wrote down, why don't we have high priests? And then I was like, well, we do, but
yeah. That ended with Jesus. Jesus
just
is
not
the ultimate high priest.
regular people here.
Right. Yes.
Got it.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
So, the biggest point for Sunday, though, we talked about was that Jesus, he was our high priest, but then he died on the cross for our sins. And so that makes him the ultimate high priest, because, the high priest in the Old Testament, they would offer animals or whatever, but Jesus offered himself. And, and in Hebrews, it says, let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. How are we able to come boldly? Is because of what Jesus did. So before, we would approach the throne with shame and guilt and maybe a fear and all that. Now we can come boldly to the throne because of what Jesus did for us. So it's not because of what we've done, but it's because of what he did on the cross for us. And that was really the point of the message. That was the point of the message on Sunday, was to come boldly. Yep.
Was that it?
I think that's it. I mean, that's the major gist of it. So, all right.
So this week we'll talk about
We're going to talk about myrrh. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Fun.
Yeah,
All
it'll
right.
be interesting. So.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you guys next week, and we'll talk about myrrh and continue the Christmas series, and we hope you have a good week.